Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Mani.Plus, where medicine meets meaning. I'm your host, Mani Ahmed. This episode is called 7 Years Strong, Life After a Heart Transplant. 7 years ago, I was given a new lease on life, a new heart. Facing the brink of end-stage heart failure, the transplant wasn't just a medical procedure. It was a second chance, and for me, a blessing. And I thank my Lord and the family to give me this beautiful gift of life. Today, 7 years on, I'm sharing not only a story of survival, but one of resilience, gratitude, and the daily reality of living with a transplanted heart. From the long road to recovery and the discipline of ongoing treatment, to celebrating milestones I once thought were impossible, my journey highlights both the miracles of modern medicine and the strength of the human spirit. In this episode, we'll delve into what it truly means to live 7 years with a transplanted heart, the challenges, the victories, and the message of hope it carries for patients, their families, and everyone who believes in the power of second chances. Each week, we bring you stories of resilience, innovation, and healing from the heart of healthcare. From burnout to breakthroughs, from patients to pioneers, we're talking about what really matters in medicine. If you're a clinician, a healer, an innovator, or simply someone who believes care can be more human, this podcast is for you. Subscribe and join us on this journey to rediscover the spirit of care. 3 words that define my journey. When I think about the journey of my heart transplant, 3 words come to mind: resilience, innovation, and spirit. The heart transplant journey is the very definition of resilience. It's about enduring the long wait for a donor, surviving the surgery itself, and then facing years of follow-ups, medications, and lifestyle adjustments. Resilience shows up not just in bouncing back physically, but also in handling setbacks, infections, or complications along the way. 7 years of survival demonstrates an extraordinary ability to adapt, persist, and keep moving forward despite the challenges and the losses. My story wouldn't exist without innovation. Advances in transplant surgery, immunosuppressive medications, and post-operative care make it possible for someone like me not just to survive, but to thrive for 7 years after receiving a donor heart. Every heartbeat is a reflection of scientific progress, pioneering techniques, and decades of research brought together in one person's life. Innovation is the bridge between despair and hope, transforming a once terminal condition into a story of possibility. Spirit is what carries the patient through it all, the inner strength, the gratitude for a second chance, and the drive to live fully. Spirit is what turns survival into meaning, celebrating the small things and milestones, honoring the donor's gift, and often advocating for organ donation so others can experience the same miracle. It's the human element that shines brightest when medicine meets life. The heart, not just as an organ, but as a symbol of courage, hope, and belief. Together, these themes remind us that a beating heart is more than just biology. It's a symbol of strength, progress, and the will to keep going, regardless of any setback. Please keep going and thank the Lord who's put you back on this earth again. And let's be honest, it's all in His hands. Why I created this podcast. I started this podcast because I believe stories like mine, and many others, have the power to heal, inspire, and connect us. Too often, the voices of people who've faced extraordinary challenges, like receiving a heart transplant or navigating other life-changing moments, go unheard. This podcast is my way of shining a light on resilience, celebrating medical innovation, and honoring the human spirit. It's a space for honest conversations about survival, gratitude, and second chances. Most of all, I created this show to remind us that behind every headline or statistic, there's a person with a story worth telling. And that story might just be the one that gives someone else the hope they need to keep going. Burnout is something I've seen and felt up close. It doesn't arrive all at once. It creeps in slowly, like a shadow, until one day you realize you're running on empty. For me, it showed up as exhaustion that no amount of sleep could fix, a loss of excitement for things I used to love, and the constant pressure to keep performing without a break. I've seen it in others too. People pushing themselves past their limits, pouring everything into their work, their families, their passions, until there's nothing left to give. Burnout steals joy, drains creativity, and makes even small tasks feel impossible. But here's the important part. Talking about it matters. Naming it matters. Because burnout doesn't mean weakness. It's a sign that we've been strong for too long without rest. And it's a reminder that resilience isn't just about pushing forward. It's also about knowing when to step back, recharge, and find balance again. When we talk about the system, whether it's healthcare, workplaces, or even communities, one of the biggest struggles is disconnection. It shows up when people feel unseen, unheard, or like they're just a number. In healthcare, it can mean patients being shuffled through appointments without any real human connection. In the workplace, it can mean grinding away without a sense of purpose or recognition. And in our personal lives, it can mean being surrounded by people, but still feeling alone because we're taught to only look after ourselves. The system often focuses so much on efficiency and outcomes that it forgets the human spirit at the center of it all. That's where burnout and frustration grow, because we crave connection, compassion, and understanding. Recognizing disconnection isn't about blaming individuals. It's about acknowledging the gaps that stop people from truly thriving. It's also an invitation to build bridges, to restore empathy, and to remind ourselves that behind every system, there are people. We can create systems and lives that don't just demand from us, but also give back. And in that, burnout can become a signal, not an ending. A reminder that what we need most isn't just rest, but reconnection. So much of the system focuses on protocols, numbers, and diagnoses. And while those are necessary for care, they don't tell the whole story. Behind every chart, every medical file, there's a person with fears, hopes, relationships, and dreams. What I long for, and what I'm trying to create with this podcast, is a space for the deeper stories like mine and others. The stories of resilience that don't show up on a test result. The moments of spirit that medicine can't measure. Because when we only see people through the lens of protocols, we miss their humanity. And it's in that humanity, in the laughter, the struggles, the gratitude, that true healing begins. That's why these conversations matter. They remind us that health is not just about surviving a diagnosis. It's about living a story worth telling. On this podcast, you can expect powerful conversations with a wide range of guests. Clinicians who bring insights from the front lines of care. Patients who share their lived experiences. Mental health experts who help us understand the human mind. And innovators who are reshaping the future of health. Each week, we'll dive into topics that matter. Coping with stress in an overwhelming world. Finding purpose after life-changing events. Exploring new technologies transforming care. And embracing holistic approaches to healing. Whether it's a story of resilience, a breakthrough in medical innovation, or a reminder of the human spirit that carries us forward, this podcast is here to offer perspective, hope, and connection. New episodes will be released weekly, so you'll always have fresh conversations to inspire, challenge, and uplift you. This isn't just a podcast. It's a space to reconnect with why we care, love, and hope. In a world that often moves too fast, where systems can feel overwhelming and people can feel like numbers, I want this space to slow down and listen, to hear the stories behind the diagnoses, to honor the resilience it takes to keep going, and to spotlight the innovation and spirit that make healing possible. My vision is simple: to create a community where clinicians, patients, mental health experts, and innovators come together, not just to share information, but to share humanity, to remind ourselves that care, love, and hope are more than protocols, and that health is more than just surviving. If these conversations resonate with you, I invite you to join me. Subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode.
Share it with someone who could use a dose of hope or perspective. And most of all, take a moment to reflect on your own journey and why you care, because together, we're not just telling stories, we're building connection.
If today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also follow me on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram for updates and behind-the-scenes insights. And if something you heard today inspired you or gave you hope, please take a moment to leave a review. It helps this community grow and reach more people who need these stories and hope. Oh, and don't stop here. Episode 2 is already live. Check it out for a powerful story of healing from burnout. I promise, you won't want to miss it. Join me next week as we dive into another aspect of my journey on how resilience is pivotal in making this story possible. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all with good health, peace, and love.